to C, an open letter or series of letters to Cecilia Vicuña. I watched you twist and wind the threads of belonging you call words. Watched because, simply said, I was never invited to hear the moment they began in the voice of speech, whose lost breath your publisher just one moment ago lamented. For separation from inspiration from his beloved lyric muse. But I, once again, since we now again speak of the dependency of such words within, I was never allowed to sing from song into page, because, though myself not blind, found myself among those blind to my presence as an eye from within sight, sound, and decipherable sentence. So I sense and sensed the turning toward such a belonging within the threadwork of your loom long before you begun to spin. You are still spinning, dangling spindle, but because the letters themselves within such a word or series of words, such a loom or series of looms, such a thread or series of threads, line, tangle, splay, were never allowed to speak, to say, to scream. I can only hear the excised remainder of their disposition, whether twisted to the right or left, or simply cast, torn and broken onto the weaving room floor. They bleat not, neither do they roam. They neither pasture, nor do they offer their purest necks of sacrificial virtue to the demands of a giver who takes away, twisting his fingers to the right, nor to the taker who returns in kind, who twists his fingers to the left. Because I could never twist such nimble and delicate fingers, because I knew them not, I had them not, I had not been knotted with them, I had been knotted without the benefit of such nimbleness, and from the very beginning, just as some limited by exclusion through their lack of strength to burden them, to raise them, to hold them, to carry them, were excluded from learning to speak in the language of stones, so was I excluded to learn in the language of twist, nimble-fingered, delicate return, left, right, left. So in the threads I do see and hear, within the twist and turn the letters they bear into the loom, see and hear, death, heart, hear, read, stare, red, star, read, hear, heart, death, dearth, stare, heart, earth, heart, death, heart, heat, heart, read, heart, red, heart, ant, heart, date, heart, eat, tread, heart, 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 and heart. But I also sense the edge of the indecipherable almost within, ever almost allowed, almost included, almost whispered, almost held. The whisper of dread and threat also, and the many voices whispering within the howling names of the dead. Also situated at the edge of your threads, but excluded by demands of their possessing an extra letter, or more than one perhaps. And among these, those which belong within those whispered words still formed from within, or the withinning, the remaining, the remainders, that sad herd death. Earth, heart, art, star, red, reed, lead, steed, stead, stayed, stare, have always already left behind. In the bee, missing from the threads of your promised belonging, I hear the bleeding of your because, I see the blood of your beloveds. In the eye, missing from the threads of your promised belonging, I hear the unanswered. the unspoken. The I, which failed to become lyric, the I, because it lacked the nimbleness of finger, because it lacked the delicate beauty of speech, failed to become the I heard. In the L, missing from the threads of your promised belonging, I hear the unanswered letters of love and the longing to allow the letters to wander beyond their allotted limitations within the literature of their laws of the literal, to letter them simply be letters of love, however poorly formed. In the O, missing from the threads of your promised belonging, I hear a gasp. I see a circle scorned for its incompletion because someone has noted where the graphite or ink at its terminus fails to touch or reach back to origin or inception, where its beginning first touched utterance into mark, into marking, into the orderly form demanded by our publisher of position above the page. Into the I that we spoke of as lyric before, into the I missing from the threads of your promised belonging, I intuit the course, the way, the direction, the return. Of the tread that the lyric poet makes in the darkness of night, of the page, of the pencil on the page, the eye of the pencil, the eye whose visual stance and stand within the hand, the holding imitates the verticality of the eye that presents itself as pronoun upon the page. Into the missing I from the threads of your promised belonging, I intuit the course, the way, the direction, the return. In the missing N from the threads of your promised belonging, I smell the night. Yes, smell, not see, nor hear. Have you spent enough time in the wilderness of night to know and love the smell of night, Cecilia? Into the G, missing from the threads of your promised belonging, I go, I gather, I get, I growl. Because though I love the smell of night, I have spent enough time within its secret forest to know enough to take care to defend myself from within its scented scentings and sensing den. Into the I, missing from the threads of your promised belonging, I intuit the course, the way, the direction, and the return.